Welcome back to my channel and a very special welcome if you're new here. My name is Jen and this is Jen Clayton Beauty. We do everything beauty and makeup, and that includes testing new makeup. I have been buying quite a few new makeup things, especially from the Sephora sale. I did a massive $400 Sephora sale haul. If you missed that, I will link it down below for you. But we're going to test out some of the makeup I purchased during the Sephora sale, as well as a couple of other things that I recently bought and one product that came in a subscription box. So if you're excited for another testing new makeup, give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not. Turn your bell on because I upload lots and lots of new videos every single week. Down in the description box, I will link all of the makeup that we tried out today. I really appreciate you using my links. It definitely helps support the channel, as well as my favorite beauty boxes, all of the other makeup that I'll be wearing today. If you would like to shop my completed look, discounts to my favorite indie brands, and come follow me over on TikTok for more beauty and makeup. So let's talk about the makeup products we're testing out today. The first thing we're going to be using is the brand new sponge from One Size. So this is the One Size makeup sponge. I did already go ahead and get this wet. It became very bouncy and very big once I got it wet. I have heard really good things about this. I love the unique shape of this to just pack in your foundation. You can even use it under your eyes. I'm so excited to try this out with you. This was a bit of a splurge. It's a little bit less than the Beauty Blender, but pretty much the same price. But I do like the unique shape of it. It feels really good, and if it works, great. If it works, then it's definitely worth it. And then another splurge, and something again that I've wanted for so long, and I finally bit the bullet, bought it during the Sephora sale, is the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. Now I got mine in the shade 3.5N, which is a medium neutral. And again, this is a foundation I've heard amazing things about, and it's pricey, but it's not as pricey as you may think. I would say that it's definitely a high-end foundation. I'll pop the price here on the screen for you, but like I said, I've heard amazing things about this, and we're gonna test this out together. Also from the Sephora sale, I couldn't pass this up. This is the brand new Tower 28 Cream Blush in Finest Hour. This is a absolutely gorgeous red cream blush, and I don't have a red blush, and I don't have a red cream blush in my collection. I love Tower 28. It's actually quite an affordable brand. Let me show you what it looks like. We'll swatch it, of course, together, but isn't that beautiful? I thought this would be perfect for the holidays. And then in my Allure beauty box, I actually got the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer, and I did select the shade Dark Brown. This is a staple for so many people, and I've actually never tried this brow pencil. So I got it as part of my subscription box, and we're gonna test it out together. And last but not least, this was something that I debated on getting. I've heard really good things about it. It's not my favorite brand, but I went ahead and grabbed it at Ulta, and that is from Morphe, and these were their new little 6-pan palettes. I decided to go ahead and get the Party Crusher palette. Isn't this pretty? It's kind of a berry toned, neutral, cool tone palette, but these two shades in the middle look absolutely beautiful. I'm not a big Morphe lover. I don't typically like their shadows, but like I said, I've heard really good things about these little 6-pan palettes, and I thought it looked absolutely beautiful. So we're gonna actually test the Morphe Party Crusher palette. So let me go ahead and zoom you in, and let's get started with our Dior foundation. Like I said, I've heard amazing things about this foundation, so I am anxious to try it out, see if it's worth the money. I am very much a believer that you don't have to spend a lot of money for good foundation. There's some really affordable brands out there. But using my IT Cosmetics foundation brush, I'm going to just tap this into my skin. Okay, this looks really nice. It is blending out absolutely beautifully. Always use a foundation brush first and then tap. That actually is going to give you the most coverage. You can also swirl if you want a little bit lighter coverage, but I like to just tap in my foundation. Looks absolutely incredible. I have literal full coverage, but my skin looks so dewy and hydrated. So far, so good. I'm going to use my new One Size sponge, and once I tap it in with my foundation brush, I always blend it out with a beauty sponge. That's going to get rid of any brush strokes. Luckily, the IT Cosmetics brush doesn't really leave brush strokes, but it's also going to pick up any excess foundation and just really give you that flawless base. I actually really like this sponge. I like how big it is. I wasn't sure about the size once it puffed up from water, but I actually really like it. It covers a lot of area, and because it's flat, I feel like it's really just pouncing that foundation into my skin. I will also link the IT Cosmetics brush down below. I believe this is an IT for Ulta brush, so I'll link that for you as well. Absolutely amazing. I will say the foundation has an interesting smell. It's very makeup smelling, if that makes sense, which is interesting. I don't love the smell necessarily. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I do, however, love the coverage, love how this looks on my skin. Wow, I am blown away by how beautiful this looks and how nicely this sponge blended everything out. Let me go ahead and do concealer, cream bronzer, and then I'll be back and we'll try the Tower 28 cream blush. I just did my concealer and I thought we could blend that out together with the beauty sponge. I also like this for concealer. Again, this rounded flat shape, you can really get in and just blend everything out. I am absolutely loving this foundation. Loving this foundation. Of course, I'm going to wear it all day. At the end of the video, I will pop a wear test up on the screen, but I can't believe the coverage and how amazing this makes my skin look. I'm also quite obsessed with this sponge. So far, I'm loving it as well. So let's go ahead and swatch the Tower 28 Finest Hour Cream Blush. She is so pretty. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. It's this perfect red. That is so unique. I do not have a red cream blush in my collection. So picking it up with my cream blush brush, it looks very pigmented. So I'm going to go in with a fairly light hand. Oh yeah, it's definitely pigmented. Okay, that is enough for both sides of both of my cheeks. Ooh, it's so pretty though. Wow. That is a beautiful color. Like I said, it's the perfect red for the holidays. I also like to go in with my beauty sponge and blend out my cream blush so you can see how pigmented that is. Let me blend it out. That usually diffuses it out a little bit. Again, picks up any excess product. That is really beautiful. It is definitely not as intense once you apply it to the cheeks, especially if you do go in and blend it out with your beauty sponge. It's going to make it a little less abrupt, but it's still really, really beautiful. And like I said, I don't have a red cream blush in my collection, so I'm excited about this. Let me go ahead and set my face with powder, prime my eyes, and we'll test out the Morphe Party Crasher palette. So I went ahead and set my face with powder. I did not add any additional blush, and look at how beautiful that is. That is just the Tower 28 Finest Hour blush. I did pop on a little highlight. Definitely shines through even a set face, which is really exciting. I'm really loving that color. Now let's create an eye look with the Morphe Party Crasher palette. Let me go ahead and show you some swatches. I have already primed my eyes with my MAC Paint Pot and Painterly. So here are the mattes. Now the mattes swatched really, really nicely. I love this cool toned Dream, this really interesting kind of white gray, that purple leaning shade, that deep dark browny purple, and this lavender shade is also really beautiful. And then here are the shimmers. Now they weren't as foiled and buttery in the pan. However, I really, really like the purple, but this blue brown is beautiful. That's like that quintessential duochrome blue brown. Honestly, they didn't feel the best, but they swatched really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this lighter taupey shade called Wild Night. Going to pick that up on a fluffy brush, and I'm actually going to place that in my crease and a little bit above my crease. I do have slightly hooded eyes, so I do want to pop this a little bit above my crease so that when my eyes are open, you can still see the shade. This is really pretty. It's actually a little bit deeper than I anticipated looking at it in the pan and then applying it to the eyes. It is going on really nice. It's very pigmented and it's blending out beautifully. It's just a little more purple leaning than I expected, but I really, really like it. And then I'm going to pick up the lightest matte, which is this kind of gray white called Uninvited. And I'm going to use that just to buff and blend out those edges. That'll help lighten up the look a little bit, make it a little bit more diffused. And then I'm going to pick up the dark brownie purple called Funds Over, and I'm actually going to pack that in the outer corner. That's going to add that little bit of depth to my look. This shade is really, really pretty. I actually really like this. I really appreciate the inclusion of this deep dark shade to add that depth. And I'm going to pick up Uninvited again and just buff again those edges. And then using my NYX glitter glue, as always, I'm going to pop a little bit of that on my lids and we'll test out these shimmers. I want to use them both on my lid, one with the finger, one with the brush. So I'm going to start with the blue brown called Icy Glare. And we're actually going to pop that on our lid. I'm going to focus that on the outer about 3/4 of my lid. That is very pretty. It's very smoky, it's very sultry, and it is applying really nicely. I am having to go in and pick up a little bit more of the shimmer to really get the opacity that I want, but it's really beautiful once applied. And then with a flat brush, I'm picking up the purple leaning shade called Chaotic Energy, and we're gonna test out application with a brush, and that I'm actually going to place on the inner portion of my lid, and then kind of pull that over to meet the other shimmer. Okay, that is pretty. And that is applying beautifully with a brush. That one with the brush, I'm not having to go back in. Just one swipe in, I'm really getting that beautiful opacity from that shimmer. Then on the lower lash line, we're using the final shade in the palette, the final matte. It's called No RSVP. And I'm going to pick that up and buff that on my lower lash line. I really like this for that little lighter, brighter lower lash line. And if you really pack it on, the shadow on a little bit thicker on the lower lash line and blend it out, really beautiful. And since there's no light shimmer in the palette for inner corner highlight, I'm going to use my ColourPop Flexitarian. That is always my go-to for inner corner if there's not one in the palette. And for this look, I really like the brighter, lighter inner corner. This is a little bit deeper, smoky, more sultry look. So this Flexitarian in the inner corner is the perfect accompaniment to the eyeshadow look. So here is the eye look using the Morphe Party Crasher palette. Let me go ahead and do liner and mascara, put on a lippy, and then I'll be back and we'll do our brows. So here is the eye look once I added some liner and mascara. I'll be back to share some thoughts on the eye look, but let's test out the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer. Like I said, this is a product that's been around forever. It's a staple for so many people. I just have never tried it myself, so I'm honestly looking forward to testing it out. So here is what it looks like. One end is an angled brush, which is an angled liner, which is my preferred liner, and then the other end is a spoolie. So for me, what I like to do, I have pretty full brows as it is I like to just basically fill them in and then also define them out. So just make sure that I have a nice line under my brows and above my brows. And then I just pull it down just to finish my brow. This is great. It's working really nicely. I'm able to not only fill in my brows, but I'm also able to add a little bit of color. So if you have sparse brows and you want to fill them in, but you also want to add some color, keep them in place, this works great. And then using the spoolie on the other end, I'm just going to kind of brush my brows into place. They look really good and it was effortless. I really like the angled tip on the brow pencil. I think that just makes filling them in and defining them out a lot easier. Let me go ahead and brush my hair. I'm just going to pop it back up in a ponytail for the day, and then I'll be back and we'll talk about my thoughts on this testing new makeup. So here is my final look for this testing new makeup. Overall, I am loving my look. So let's go over some thoughts on the products we tested today. Let's go ahead and start out first with the Dior Backstage Foundation. So far, I am obsessed with this foundation. My skin looks amazing. The coverage of this is so good. It really is worth the hype. It's definitely worth the money. I'm so glad that I picked it up. I will go ahead and pop up here on the screen a wear test with the Dior foundation, letting you know how it lasted throughout the day. Did it oxidize? Did I feel like it was worth the money at the end of the day? But first impression thoughts, I'm thrilled with this. I also really like the sponge. I mean, I really like the sponge. The unique shape of this is perfection. You can really get in there and tap out foundation. It works for concealer, cream bronzer, cream blush. Love this. Again, really glad that I bit the bullet and picked it up. I also am obsessed with this Tower 28 blush. This is so beautiful. And again, I did not add any powder blush. This is just the Finest Hour cream blush just shining through my set face. Really like this. Tower 28 is a brand I love. Their Beach Please blushes I love. And I'm so excited to have a unique red shade in my collection. And as for the Morphe eyeshadow palette, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. Morphe is not my favorite brand. I don't think they make the most spectacular eyeshadow formula. I will say the mattes in this palette blended out beautifully, really beautifully. They were pigmented, they were opaque, and the shimmers, I like the shimmers. Kind of looking at my eye look, I definitely think the purple shimmer is the star of the show between the two. The blue brown is really pretty, but I definitely had to take some energy I definitely had to keep going back in, picking up more of that shimmer to really get the color payoff I wanted. Where with the purple leaning shimmer, I just swiped one swipe on. Maybe these shimmers are better served with a brush, because I definitely got more payoff with the brush with the purple than the blue brown. But when it's all said and done, I think my eye look looks really beautiful. And I love that it's a little bit smoky, a little bit sultry. I definitely want to create a look using this lighter pinky purple shade on the lid to just lighten and brighten the look. But overall, I really like it. Morphe is an affordable brand. And do I think this is worth your money? Yes. I think the color story is really pretty and it performed really beautifully overall. Lastly is the ABH Brow Definer. I really like this. I love the angled brush the angled pencil, so I'm really able to get in there, fill in my brows, define out my brows, and then using the spoolie on the other end, brush it all through. I like this a lot. These angled pencils are my favorite, and ABH makes a fantastic, and ABH's brow pencil, I think, performed really nicely. All in all, this is a really good testing new makeup. I really liked everything. There were some big, huge wins like the foundation and the sponge and the cream blush. I mean, everything was really good. I would recommend purchasing all of these things. I will have them linked down below. And as always, I very much appreciate you using my links and supporting my channel. And I'll also have all the other makeup that I'm wearing today. If you wanted to pick up any of the other pieces of my look, discounts to my very favorite indie brands, and come follow me over on TikTok for more beauty and makeup. This was a huge win for a testing new makeup.